I'm on a journey to get 100 platinum trophies on PlayStation, and my next game is Battlefield 6. Now this might be my first platinum or 100% ever for one of these shooter multiplayer focused games, but I was excited for this one as this is my first Battlefield game since Battlefield 1 that came out, I think about like 10 and a half years ago. I was still in high school when that game came out, which is crazy to say. Damn, I'm getting old. Anyways, this game has about 43 total trophies, with 25 of them being the campaign only trophies and the other 17 trophies being earned from the multiplayer. Let's jump right into the journey though. When I first hopped in the game, I played a few breakthrough matches to get a feel for the game as I really didn't play the beta before. So I wanted to see what some of the game was like before jumping into the campaign. Breakthrough was pretty fun and trying out the different classes and weapons were fun at this point too. But I think the main class I'll be playing the most in multiplayer is gonna be the medic, because it feels like there was never enough medics on the field, so I may as well just try to contribute to fixing that problem. But later down the road, I'll have to play the other classes too, as there are class specific trophies that I'll have to go for. Anyways, after a few matches in multiplayer, I finally decided to head over to the campaign. The campaign isn't that long, as I think it's about 9 missions, and they also have pretty easy trophies I will go through. The main story starts off in the year 2027, where NATO and the private militia Pax Armada are in a giant conflict, and where the first mission takes place is that the NATO troops in Georgia are ordered to withdraw because of some sort of peaceful transition that was supposed to happen, which I'm assuming you can already tell that this is a bad idea for so many reasons. But anyways, we experience this mission as Sergeant Dylan Murphy and his squad Tempest 1-2, and as they are packing their things and getting ready to move out of their base, they are suddenly ambushed by Pax Armada, as to no surprise, they never wanted a peaceful transition but wanted to take advantage of this to be able to weaken NATO's forces. Tempest 1-2 find a way to escape in one of their vehicles and make their way to the sniper squad that is overlooking the location of NATO's cyber security servers, and this is where we decide to destroy the whole building so that Pax won't have access to it before we evacuate the area. So we decide to make our way through the construction building, taking out any enemies we see, and then plant the explosives in various areas of the building. After we finish planting the explosives, we head up to the top of the building where we fight off Pax as we wait for our evac to arrive. When our ride shows up, we board and fly away to watch as the building blows up and what seemed to be the end. But as we were making our way out, we get attacked and our chopper went down. Waking up from the crash, we see that the rest of the squad is still alive and that we are being surrounded by Pax troops. Murphy gives one last motivational speech to the squad as they prepare for their last gunfight. As we begin the fight, I try to do possibly the worst combo of challenges for this fight, and the first challenge was to complete a mission in the campaign on the hardest difficulty, and it isn't too bad if it weren't for the second challenge. The second challenge wasn't even for a trophy, but for a camo in the game that I wanted, and that challenge was to complete a mission in the campaign without shooting your gun. So I made it all the way to this point in the mission doing that, but once you reach the gunfight area, you can't move around, so melees aren't an option, and I don't have any grenades either, so I'm literally just a sitting duck. I tried to see if I can endure the fight, but I still kept getting hit and kept dying, so I just gave up on this part for the trophy and turned down the difficulty. But even then, that wasn't working either, so I just gave up on both challenges and decided to do them later. Back to the mission, as the gunfight draws out, we see that each member of Tempest 1-2 gets killed until Murphy is the last one left. He is saved by our rescue team in another chopper that wipes out the rest of the Pax forces and pull Murphy out of the wreckage and fly him back to safety. And this concludes the first mission and we earn our first trophy here. Next we see a cutscene of a house and we see the woman that owns this house, but is infiltrated by Murphy and what seems to be his new squad, Dagger 1-3, and they are questioning a CIA handler named Mills, who was actually the one that put Dagger 1-3 together. But they were asking her questions about everything that's happened to Dagger since they were formed together, because apparently some stuff has gone down since Dagger was formed and now. This transitions into our next mission as a flashback where we start off in Gibraltar. This mission has us experience this through the perspective of Gecko, who, if we're following the roles like in the multiplayer, is the recon or the sniper role of the squad. We start out by parachuting out of the plane with our squad leader Carter, who is our assault role on the squad. The two work together as part of the air side of the invasion to retake Gibraltar, in which they are tasked to provide sniper support to the squad that is working on destroying Pax's radar station. And when we succeeded, we have to move through the tunnels to meet with the other squad that is making their way to the next target. After a few encounters with Pax in the tunnels, we made our way out by sliding down the elevator cable to get out, but I just would like to know, and also point out, how Gecko's hands right here aren't torched. because how are you sliding down this cable without any gloves? But once we made it outside, we had to take out the AAA guns that were preventing our naval troops from starting their part of the invasion. While I was making my way through their setup around the guns, I got a trophy here for getting 50 headshots in the campaign, which is pretty easy when you give me a sniper rifle. After taking out the guns, I just had to take out the rest of the enemies, and that's pretty much it for this mission. The next mission has us back over to Murphy, and he is with our last member, Lopez, and he's the medic or the support of the group. Murphy and Lopez are on the naval ships, preparing to storm the beach with the rest of the NATO, and we had to head out in these crazy boat/tanks that when we hit the shore, we can immediately roll up on and start pushing towards Pax's defenses. With our ride, we had to meet up with a guy called Hemlock who was operating the tank, and we had to use that tank to push through the city, but as soon as we made it close to the city, we found a wounded soldier, so Lopez went to patch him up, and shortly after, Murphy and Lopez met up with Gecko and Carter and decided to move on foot and press forward with our armored vehicle. While we moved through the vehicle, we had to help out in taking out any anti-tank turrets and Pax soldiers with the anti-tank launchers as well. Along the way, I got a trophy for destroying 10 vehicles after blowing up some of the tanks that would appear. We made it to a building where we can survey and look for the main guy we've been after. We found out that one of the guys from the other squad that Gecko and Carter were working with was captured, and as we were trying to figure out a way to save him before calling in the armored vehicle, our guy gets executed, leaving us no choice but to move in and attack. Once we got the area secured, we didn't find that main guy that executed our friend, and so shortly after, our ride out arrived. This is the end of the mission, and we get a trophy for completing missions 2 and 3 in the story. After those 2 missions, we go back to the present in Mills' house, and we talk about this Kincaid guy who's like one of the guys running Pax, and we also talk about how Pax has similar tech to ours, in which this sets up our next mission, flashback to Cairo. In Cairo, Mills had Dagger 1-3 go in and extract an informant that was giving us info on Pax, and while we made our way to where the informant was, Carter gave Murphy all the history that Kincaid has, not only with NATO, but also Carter. Turns out Kincaid's group and Carter's group were supposed to work together on a joint mission, and when Kincaid got separated from his group, he decided to go back for them, but never returned. So Carter made the call for his squad to get out, and Kincaid still harbors those memories and emotions till this day. Shortly after, we made it to the informant where we found him shot on the floor, and he didn't make it, so in order for us to get the intel, we had to cut off his thumb, I guess, because his print can get us the info we needed. But yeah, after we got the thumb, we just had to fight our way out and even take down a chopper. This whole mission was kind of a struggle because on this mission is when I found out that there is a trophy in each mission that had me doing various objectives in that mission corresponding with the trophy. The trophy I needed to get on this mission was to go through the entire mission using only pistols, knives, and gadgets. And if you haven't played this game and just barely saw me using a launcher, they are considered gadgets in this game, so that was clutch for me. But at the end of the mission, I got 2 trophies back to back. The first was for completing the mission, and the other was just for the mission side objective. When we get back to Mills' house, we see Lopez searching the house for a file on something called Project Velez, which is just some sort of high-end tech that NATO had, but then also Pax got their hands on. And I guess this is what they used to get into Brooklyn, which is the next setting for our next flashback mission. In this mission, we play as Carter, and we had to try to stop the Pax cell group that got into Brooklyn, and they're trying to strike the NATO leaders that are in New York having a summit. First, we had to go and clear out their HQ, and right before we started the HQ sweep, I was given a sledgehammer, which is what I'll need for my next trophy, and that was to get 5 kills with it, so I just ran around doing so to get the trophy and then move on. Once we cleared most of the surrounding townhouses and their HQ, we begin searching their war room looking for where they're launching their missiles on the summit, but we get interrupted by Kincaid, who is just rage baiting Carter for their history. After that, we get attacked by Pax, in which we have to fight our way through them, and we end up in a chase for Kincaid, which takes us underground and chasing the train that has the equipment to signal the missiles. While chasing for the train, a Pax vehicle crashed into us and we lost sight of the train, so we just had to hurry up into a chopper to fly over the bridge that the train was about to cross, and also was evacuated before we put the missile to stop the train from moving. Once the train was stopped, we landed on the bridge, or what was left of it, and pushed through the rubble. And when we thought we deactivated all the missiles, we ended up being a little too late and they still launched. As we were watching the missiles launch one by one, we see the first two hit before friendly jets arrived and started intercepting the rest. But we couldn't watch as our escape chopper that was about to pick us up got hit and crashed into the bridge, and this also knocks us into the water where Carter gets knocked out. We later hear Murphy dragging Carter out of the water and saving him, and at the end of this mission, we now take the perspective of Murphy as we see Dagger 1-3 back together and get their next objective to escort the president to safety, which sets us up for our next mission. In the next mission, we work our way to the safe house to meet up with the president and his group, and during this part, I quickly got this mission's trophy early, which was to land 6 headshots consecutively. When we arrive, we discuss the next plan, which is to secure the rooftop of the safe house so that the evac can arrive. Once we thought the rooftop was clear, the chopper was about to land before it was taken out by explosive drones from PAX. We had to try and take out as much of the drones as we could before we retreated inside and had to come up with a new plan. The new plan was to have Murphy and Gecko hunting for the place where the drones are being operated from, which is this park nearby, and it's under a bridge. When we clear out the enemies at their command center, we hurried up and met with Lopez in a vehicle as we drive to help escort the president to an operating base where he could safely be extracted. But as we were driving, the road beneath us was destroyed and we fell into a subway where we got separated from the president and Carter, who was in the car with him. Once we fought our way through the subway and made our way topside to the base, there was another wave of PAX soldiers going through with another assault, so we had to go through this big firefight to stop them. When the escort boat arrived and we saw an opening, we made our way back to the dock, but the first boat was blown up by Kincaid, who decided to finally show his face. Murphy and Carter went after Kincaid while Lopez and Gecko escorted the president onto the second boat and took off. Shortly after, Murphy was jumped by Kincaid and was getting beat down, but then Carter showed up and got too close, and this gave Kincaid a chance to fight back, which ended in Carter getting stabbed by Kincaid. Murphy couldn't really do anything because he was held at gunpoint by one of Kincaid's guys, so we just had to watch their conversation before Kincaid stabs Carter one more time to ensure that he doesn't make it before leaving the two. Murphy and Carter have one more conversation where Carter tells Murphy that he's got to be the one to be the leader now of Dagger, and shortly after, Carter finally passes away. This concludes the mission, and we also get a trophy for completing the last 2 missions we just went through. After that flashback, we're back at Mills' house where we see the new guy that's with Dagger, and his name is Hemlock, and it seems that he and Mills have history. Hemlock warns Murphy and Lopez that Gecko has seen some enemies nearby, and so they begin to move out with Mills, but Murphy decides to stop and bring up to Mills how she could possibly be a traitor because Kincaid had connections with Mills, so Dagger has no trust in Mills as of now. At the end of the scene, we see the president on the TV talking about how NATO is now launching an all-out war with PAX to end this once and for all. We transition into the next mission, after which takes place back in Egypt, where we play as Al-Khatib, which I didn't mention him earlier because he only had one role in the Cairo flashback mission from earlier, but he's a part of Unit 777 for their nation's military. In this mission where we play as him, they give us a tank and we pretty much just go through taking out any PAX soldiers we see. The mission specific trophy for this one was for collapsing an overpass on one of PAX's tanks, which I did towards the beginning. This mission really didn't feel important, and most of the time was spent in the tank, and at some point one of our air support choppers was hit and crashed into the city, so we just hopped out of the tank and moved on foot to where the chopper was and saved any survivors, and that was pretty much it for this mission, and we get another trophy for completing it. After this mission, we go back to Mills' house where we see the shootout between Dagger and the enemy forces begin. Dagger is focused on taking out the guys, which gives Mills an opening to grab the knife from the counter behind her and cut the zip tie off her wrist and run away, in which Murphy led her so that he could follow her to get what they were looking for all along. After the gunfight, Murphy and Hemlock talk about what Hemlock knew from Mills before she assigned Hemlock to the squad, but all he knew was the task force in Tajikistan needed help, and this leads us to our next flashback mission. We go back to a few days before the present in Tajikistan, where Dagger is tasked with basically destabilizing PAX's defenses around their main base. We went around taking out their SAM data link centers, and towards the end we had to go to the top of a dam and take out the AAA turrets to finish off the mission. This mission also seemed like an action-packed and not so much story development, and so there's really not much for me to go off of. The mission specific trophy was when they gave me this drone to scout the area. I just had to spot 20 total enemies with the drone to get the trophy to pop. Also, I got another trophy for completing the mission at the end. Once again, we're back at Mills' house, and we see her unlock a secret safe in the wall that had the file that Dagger was looking for, and it exposes that she was the one that was feeding Pax inside information and tech on NATO. Murphy also hints here that she is the reason for what happened to Tajikistan, which takes us to the final mission. The final mission takes place just a day after the previous one, and it's the big assault that the president also hinted about earlier in the game. With the main outer defenses down thanks to Dagger, we go ahead and fight through an outpost to get sights on their base. And once we can see the base, Gecko calls in the airstrike to start the absolute chaos that will ensue. We make our way through the base after the airstrike, and as we were going, I got a single player trophy for killing 3 enemies with a single grenade, but this may have taken me more than 1 grenade to get. I'm gonna be honest, I just kept spamming them once I saw a group of enemies and prayed. Inside the base, we needed to locate and disable the hypersonic missiles that Pax planned to launch on all the NATO countries, so we had to hurry up and do that real quick. Along the way to disabling the launchers, I got the mission specific trophy when I got into a tank, and I had to shoot down their chopper that had Pax reinforcements in it. With the missiles disabled, we had to hurry to their command base or bunker before the doors closed to find Kincaid and finish this once and for all. But when we made it inside the base, right at the entrance, I got my first collectible in the campaign, which got me a trophy for it as well. We work our way through the bunker to get to the control room where Kincaid is, and we were finally able to catch him, but when Murphy reported that they had Kincaid in custody, Mills on the other side of the radio was telling Dagger that Kincaid cannot leave that place alive. This is where Kincaid tells Dagger that he was Mills' recruit and that the CIA had been backing Pax and that will soon end up just like him. Not much can be said after though, because Kincaid outed Hemlock as an assassin, and later Hemlock shoots him to silence him. After Kincaid dies, they try to report it in, but nothing comes through as Mills cut off their communication and was planning on having Dagger to be collateral when they bombed the place shortly after. With the impending bombs about to level the place, we have to hurry and rush out to the last working chopper on the ground and make our escape and watch as Pax's base gets obliterated. In the chopper, Hemlock says that Kincaid wasn't going to be their solution for bringing Mills to justice, and they agreed to work together on taking down Mills, which brings us to the present now. With us having one last talk with Mills at the house where she says that it's not just her that created the Pax and that's been going on for years now. She also tries to plead her case of letting her live, which sparks a debate between Gecko and Hemlock, but in the end, Murphy got his orders and it doesn't show, but it's safe to assume that she is executed at the end, thus ending the campaign. Also, the trophy for beating the campaign popped before the cutscene started, but here it is. Now, after playing through the campaign for the first time, I still had 8 more single player trophies to complete. 3 of them were mission specific trophies from the beginning before I found out they existed. One was for completing a mission in the campaign on the toughest difficulty, which I gave up on, and I still need to go back and do. And the rest was from collecting all of the collectibles. I didn't want to dive back through the campaign immediately and wanted to start working on the multiplayer, so I went ahead and saved those for the end and just jumped right in. When going to the multiplayer, I really only played Breakthrough for most of the time, except for when the specific trophies required me to play other modes. I seriously think that this is my favorite and probably the best game mode in this game, mainly because I don't really care for the jets or the helicopters or all that. My first multiplayer trophy popped when I got 129 kills in the multiplayer. This brings me to another thing. I don't know the reason for this number to be so specific, and there's other trophies that have oddly specific numbers like this, and outside of like one of them, I really don't know what the numbers mean. So if you guys know, just let me know in the comments. After a few more hours of grinding, I finally hit level 9, and this popped a trophy when I loaded up into another game. After that, while I was running around with the LMG just testing out guns, I got 5 kills without reloading, and it gave me another trophy. After another few hours of playing, I got to level 14, which earned me another level trophy. The next one I decided to work on was one of the class specific trophies, and it's to repair 2042 damage on vehicles as an engineer. And this is the one I was talking about that I understood the number specific because it's the same number as the last Battlefield game, and I guess that may be the hint, I don't know. After enough games in Breakthrough, I finally got my first game mode trophy, which is for capturing or defending 41 sectors in Breakthrough. And if you haven't played Battlefield or don't know what the game mode is, the whole game mode is the offense is supposed to capture 1 or 2, I don't remember if there's a third point in one of these sectors in the game, and you're supposed to do that before the life count goes down to 0. And if the offense captures the sector, then the game transitions you to a new area and gives some lives back to your count, and you just repeat the process until you capture all the sectors, or if you run out of lives at any point in the game. Anyways, the next trophy I got was for earning 414 Acts of Valor, which I think are just the different medals you get from doing stuff in the game. So somewhere between all this, I was working on another trophy that was best suited for me to switch off of Breakthrough, and I had to do this on a small map deathmatch mode, which is basically just 8v8 domination or team deathmatch. And while working on that trophy, I got a different one, which was my last level-based trophy for when I hit level 25 in the game. I don't know why, but that trophy I said I was working on earlier took me like another 8 hours to get. I might just be bad at the game, who knows? But this is to get 5 multi-kills as the assault class. After that, I finally made my way to the main conquest mode to get a fun trophy, and that was to get a roadkill by running over an enemy with a vehicle. Okay, so I forgot to mention this, but I did this when it was October still, when the game first came out, and I discovered something that's cheese. But I had to make a decision because I wanted to get this trophy hunt done before Black Ops 7 came out, because I'm one of those guys that does a camo grind for each COD every year, so yeah. Also, if you're going to comment anything about COD, just save yourselves the time and don't. I don't care what you guys think about it, and it's become a tradition for me at this point. But anyways, in Battlefield, there is the Portal, which is basically the Forge from Halo is my best comparison I can do for it. But people can create a custom game mode or a map and share it to everyone to play, and if it gets verified, those modes against bots can count towards your trophies. So I decided to do the most difficult trophies or time consuming ones that I didn't want to do in regular multiplayer. The first one I did was in a mode that gave you and the bots only knives, and the trophy I got here was for performing 10 takedowns in a single match. The next one, because I didn't want to sit as a sniper for who knows how long this would have taken me, was to get 250 sniper rifle kills as a recon. After that, the next trophy I had to go for was to go into this rush mode, and they have these explosives that you have to arm or disarm depending on which side you're on, and the challenge says to arm or disarm 5 in a match, but I was reading this wrong, and I kept thinking it was 5 overall instead of 5 in a match, so I was just running around in public lobbies doing this. But once I figured it out, I just decided to go back into the portal and do this in a private lobby. After that, I went for the 6 headshots with my sidearm trophy. This next one I had to go to the recon class because it was the only one that had access to this demolition charge. Don't quote me on that, it's been a few months, I'm not sure totally. But I had to deal 2000 damage to enemy vehicles with the demo charge for this trophy. Okay, so right here is when I was out of town for work, so I took a break for a few days. And in these days is when an update was put out for Battlefield, and in that update, they patched the ability to unlock trophies in the portal. This is what I figured would happen soon, because it definitely was cheese. So I left the last 2 multiplayer trophies to not be the most difficult ones when I returned to the regular multiplayer. So going back to pubs, the first trophy I had to do was to capture 128 objective points in Conquest, which is their main game that they sell on. It's giant team domination. So I was pretty much just the best OBJ player for my team, and after a few days of playing, I finally got the trophy. The last multiplayer trophy was a class specific one, and honestly probably my favorite one to get. I had to go as the support class and revive 1,996 players. This is really easy to do when the game gives you defibs, so I could really just run up, basically tap my trigger or hold down on it if I wanted to charge it up and just revive everyone. And I really just, for the time being, I only had defibs out. I never used my gun really. If I got a kill, it was with the kill with the defibs. It was crazy. It was fun. I had a lot of fun for this for some reason. And I just ran around like a maniac reviving any down teammate I saw. And if you got enough teammates on the sector trying to cap or defend it, then you, with the defibs, can keep the battle going, which created some more chaotic fun moments. Alright, with the multiplayer done, I can finally go back through the campaign and get the remaining trophies. I'm just gonna go through the first 3 mission specific trophies first. In the first mission, the trophy is when I was able to finally gain control of Murphy at the start before the attack started. And if I turn around directly at the beginning before walking out of this room, I will find a dinosaur toy here on the table, and if I picked up it would give me the trophy. In the second mission, when Gecko and Carter would have to go through the underground tunnel, there would be these mannequins, and when you destroy 10 of these mannequins, then the trophy would pop. In the next mission directly after, it can only be earned in the beginning when you drive off from the ships in the water land vehicle that you got. While you're on your way to the shore, there would be these mines in the ocean, and I just had to destroy 3 mines to get the trophy. With all those done, I just kept running through the campaign to get the rest of the collectibles. Now to get a trophy for when I got 5, 10, 20, and then 30, or I guess you could say all of the collectibles. I don't know why, but the 10, 20, and 30 collectible trophies didn't pop until I got all 30 and then had to close my game and restart it, and then it decided to show up in the menu. Finally, with my last trophy, I just needed to go back and complete the mission on the hardest difficulty that I gave up on in the beginning. So I just did the first mission again, but without the other challenge of not shooting my gun, and I was just finally able to get through it. There we go, another game, another platinum trophy down. This game was probably the most time I've ever spent on any of the Battlefield games that I've played. I haven't had this much fun in a Battlefield game though since maybe Battlefield 4, which was the first one I've ever played, I think. I still don't know if I could consistently play this game like I can with COD unless I'm playing with the squad. So there's that, but yeah, I'll probably go back to this game here and there and check out any new content that they add. I did enjoy most of the guns, and that breakthrough game mode is a lot of fun too. I do wish there was less bloom in the game so my bullets aren't just straying like crazy, and I don't have to tap fire most of the time if I want to shoot farther than 3 feet in front of me. But yeah, I hope EA is able to keep up with the new content in the game and just get the people to keep coming back to it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please go ahead and like that video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Also, let me know in the comments what other games you would like to see me get the platinum in as I make the journey to 100 platinum trophies. Hope you all have a blessed day, and I hope to see you guys achieve all you want this year in 2026. See you all in the next one. See you.